Back, family. Mic check, I'm back. Alright, family, check this out. Black people, y'all are gonna have to stop. And I mean stop today. Stop using the term stop using the slogan Black Lives Matters. Okay? Stop today. Okay? I'm going to explain why. First of all, that's some coward shit to say. First of all, saying Black Lives Matters is some coward shit to say. That's number one. Number two, again, y'all are falling for the trap. The slogan Black Lives Matters did not originate from out of no black person's mouth. That came from a white person. Again, y'all are allowing white people to give y'all things to say. Say this. And I guess in some of y'all minds, you can go, a white person has granted us permission to say it, so we're going to run around and say it. Stop that sucker shit. A white person gave y'all that slogan. That's a coward ass slogan. You don't tell nobody, my life matters. Naturally, no person is going to say that shit. My life matters. The fuck out of here. And then, number three. In military science, there's a term called controlled opposition, family. Look up controlled opposition. Black Lives Matters, the slogan and the quote-unquote movement is controlled opposition, paid for by George Soros, family. Those white people y'all see out there with those signs talking about Black Lives Matters and all of that shit, though a lot of those people are paid to go out there, family. I've been out there. You can go online and sign up to be a protester. George Soros will pay you to do that shit. That's controlled opposition, meaning that shit is fake. Alright? So let's get into it.
Universally bad, and for blacks don't understand that. They really understand nothing. They might as well not have an ounce of knowledge because they're not really fit to live on this planet. And I would go further and say that for brothers and sisters like ourselves who are serious about the condition of black people, and this is going to be hard for us to do, but we're going to have to start developing paradigms of how we deal with Negroes who are not trying to move. Meaning, many of our people don't have information, and that is fine. I mean, I didn't have information. I had to get the information. It had to be given to me. So we have room for all of us to grow. But when we run into a black person who is hell-bent on defending being my brother Louis Ali said, the defense attorney for the absentee cracker, when the European is not present, and we're talking about how to help black people. The minute you say something about white supremacy, we get some big-brained African who jumps up in defense of the whites, waiting for them to defend themselves.
Facts, family. I've dealt with this personally by so-called clowns. I worked with a clown who I actually went to high school with, so-called sandbox clown, defending white folks, defending the white boss when he was doing sucker shit. I ain't even gonna name his name, but the white boss did some blatantly disrespectful shit, and me and one of the Jamaican brothers dug in his ass. I mean, my Jamaican homie, he was about to fuck this white dude up, homes, boss or not, we didn't give a fuck. And the dude, the Negro I'm talking about, the professional white ass kisser, he jumped in the middle and came to the white dude's defense, and he was appalled that we was just going on his ass. He was like, I've never seen I've never been in a place where in the Haitian Revolution, the Haitians killed all those motherfuckers. That's all I'm saying. I ain't advocating nothing. I'm just saying. The Haitians smoked every single last coon that existed in Haiti prior to the start of the revolution.
He or she is the self-appointed defense attorney, and he is to defend whites for stuff that is not defendable in the absence of the whites. We have to begin to start making decisions. Say, you know what? You're a dead person.
Fine.
You need to start talking to people that says you're dead. You haven't done any reading and you have no information. And so, if you're not willing to, if you want to give an opinion, you have to come with some information. You have to have a little legitimate basis to have a discussion with me. Otherwise, it is a waste of my time to talk to you. We have got to start reaching out because there are many brothers and sisters out there who want this information. And if they had it, they would make adjustments. Like when we went out in a city, right there in common.
Big facts, man. This is why I've been saying for the longest on Facebook. I should have been doing these video clips sooner. But this is why I've been saying for the longest. And all my brothers and sisters who are as well versed and as read and experienced as myself, y'all should do the same thing. This is why I've been telling people in these comments and shit. I've been telling people straight up, you're not qualified to discuss this with me. You're not qualified to have this discussion. Either you shut the fuck up and listen and learn, or get the fuck on. And that, family, that's how y'all gotta start handling these coons. If they ain't got no information, if they ain't got no sources, they ain't done no research, and they just talking shit that white folks, they just regurgitate shit that they heard a white person say on Fox News or whatever the fuck. Get them away from you, Holmes. Shut them down. Because they are your enemy, family. Tell these motherfuckers, y'all are not qualified. You're not qualified to have this discussion if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Those people, those brothers, they just don't get the information. Nobody shares this legitimate basis to have a discussion with me. Otherwise, it is a waste of my time to talk to you. We have got to start reaching out because there are many brothers and sisters out there who want this information. And if they had it, they would make adjustments. Like when we went out in a city, right there in common terror. Those people, those brothers, they just don't get the information. Nobody shares this with them. When they get it, they make changes. I think a lot of times, as people who are serious about the condition of our people, we waste our time trying to save our brother, our mother, our sister, our cousin. We spend countless hours going back and forth, which sometimes is good practice, but at some point we got to say, it is really irresponsible for us. Because our real brothers and sisters are the ones that want to fight white supremacy and the white race. Those are our real brothers and sisters. We should be spending our time trying to convert those who want to be converted and join the team and have the willingness and the ability to fight, as opposed to trying to save anybody we run across every time we run across people. And I think part of that has been the failure, because we have to take responsibility for this war because nobody else will fight it but us. We have to start saying what is going to work. And that's why I say forums like this are exactly what Chancellor Williams is talking about. We talked about so many civilizations, African people who out of nowhere, out of the ashes of the spirit, just bring themselves back up. What happens is certain groups of people get together and say, okay, we're not going to deal with everybody's confusion. Let us come together. Let us really tackle and discuss what's going on. And let us build the infrastructure to fight. And let us put the paradigms in place through which we will wage this war. And let us make the decisions of how we're going to help our people instead of fighting each with each other and getting into these bickering situations, which ultimately result in nothing but us fighting amongst each other. If I can, in that respect, I'd like to talk about the Mossy, because I think it's a good explanation of what I'm talking about. The Mossy were a group during the Atlantic slave trade, but a major part of West Africa was completely ravaged in the slave trade, even down to regions like Angola, where a lot of people were just being systematically depopulating the African continent in order to enslave us throughout the diaspora of the Western world. But there was one group who through all of that everybody else was falling, but they were flourishing, and that group was called the Moshi. And what was so fascinating about the Moshi is that, unlike many groups of African people, they had learned a lot from the lessons of history. And the Moshi's philosophy and what they taught all their children in their education system, they literally said, when the first white man enters our land, our nation will die. Because they had looked at all of the African nations and they started realizing, wow, until whites come, no matter how many little wars we had with one another, no matter how many disagreements, we do not have major chaos and confusion and complete destruction of our civilizations until the whites come. And if they come with their Christian Bibles, if they come with their Muslim Qurans, no matter what way they come with their guns, if they come with their rum, no matter how they come, if they come, we're destroyed. So consequently, we're going to create a society where every person, from the time they're born, knows when the first white man enters our land, our nation will die. That was the theme of Moshi life, and as a training, they were very good at breeding horses. So just understand they had a strong economy, and this is why the entire slave trade is going on. And so the Moshi kingdom built itself very strong with the understanding that their main concern was keeping whites out of that region. And when the Germans wanted to come down into Moshi land, they brought their army right to the border. And the Moshi were there waiting, actually very impatiently waiting, because unlike other groups of Africans who did not know what was to come, they had looked at history and said, these whites are going to eventually come, and when they come, we're going to swallow them. And so they were literally prepared in warfare, waiting for the whites to come so that they could slaughter them. And do you know that the German forces never entered the Moshi land? Because even though they had not entered there physically, they realized this is not the group that we want to go into and fight physically, because it probably hurt them that the Germans didn't go in, because, you know, it's nothing like men galvanizing for war and not getting to fight. But essentially, that lasted throughout the entire period of the slave trade, and only in the late 1800s, early 1900s did it fall apart. And guess how it fell apart? Here's the defect. And this goes to this whole idea of being enlightened and this whole idea of turning from the old ways of the ancestors. You know, we got to learn how to move forward and accept technology and growth, but not lose the character, understand the characteristics, the behavior, the character that our ancestors give us, and the wisdom. The young people of the Moshi land decided that when the first white man entered our land, our nation will die, was the old way of their currency. And so they began to let 1 and 2 traders come into Moshi land, whites, to do their trade and things of that nature. And of course, over time, 1 or 2 went 10 or 20. And those 10 or 20 that came in as missionaries or friends or traders got the logistics of the society, learned who was in charge, learned where the differences were, and ultimately, from within, inside the different, they were able to come in, break up the Moshi as a group, divide them against themselves, and then improve on itself with white aggression by the very end of it. But we're talking about a society that lasted for hundreds of years, with the fundamental understanding that the whites are your enemies. Not some whites, all of them are your enemies, and you shall not allow any of them into your society, which reflects literally, if you take it, because I want people to understand, we're not talking about just a book, we're talking about our history. But when you know that history, it really gives you what we call a eureka. You know, you can sit there and go, man, I didn't think about this. Think about a black organization and what destroys black organization. You can have a conversation like this, and we say, man, we're going to come together and do this live, and we come together live. And you got a lot of strong brothers and sisters because we have some strong dialogue and talk. We're talking warfare. Warfare tends to bring out the strongest of the people.